Alright, well, I'm going to talk about setting up this table saw here. I had mentioned 3/8 by 3/8 inch rabbets that I'm going to cut so that I can put the glass in, and then 1/8 inch plywood, and then possibly fasteners of some kind, possibly stops that will keep the glass and plywood and picture and everything together. Well, this dimension here is going to be 3/8. So I usually use something pretty accurate, because that's how I like it. I have a 0 clearance insert here that I want to show you. I made this one out of sycamore, and I had to use my table saw to make this rabbet on the back, and then I put pieces of tape all the way around it to get it to the right surface so that it's even with this surface right here. All right. Took quite a bit of work. Alright, now I want this rabbet to be 3/8, so I'm going to take this little square and rule and bring my saw up to 3/8. I knew it was pretty close, and alright, now here's the second thing about this rabbet. It's going to have to be 3/8 by 3/8, so I'm going to measure over and to my fence, bump it a little bit, depends on what kind of setup you have. And the thing about this is, lock it down. The thing about this is that you want to include the saw thickness. If you don't include the saw thickness, you will make it too wide. So from this side of the saw to the fence is going to be 3/8, and then check it again, make sure you got 3/8 here, and it's 3/8 high. Now I'm using an alternate top bevel saw blade, but it will not produce a flat bottom cut. It's going to produce a sort of like two V's, because it's alternate top bevel, which means that the outside of this saw blade is higher than another tooth. It produces not a very good cut, but it's good enough. Ready to run them. As I talked about before, I planned on where I wanted the rabbets at. I'm just going to do one dimension for now. That one there didn't work very good, so I've got to do it again. sides so you don't get them mixed up. This is white oak, so you got to be careful that the saw blade even cuts. Okay, now I'm going to make sure that this other dimension, this other cut, is going to make a 3/8 by 3/8 inch rabbet. Okay, you see what I did? I only went part way through it and then shut the table saw off. Make sure that your switch for your table saw is easily accessible, because you're going to have to shut it off sometimes. These are very dangerous. Okay, looks good. This is where you're going to have to use some sort of a push stick. Now this is just made out of 1/4 inch plywood. I've got a hole so I can hang it over here below my saw. And then I have a notch in it. So that I can push my part. Make sure you do it right. Make sure you don't put the rabbet in the cut in the wrong spot. Okay, now see, there's that little piece. And make sure that you don't get hit by it. And there you go. The rabbet's done. It's perfect. Push stick ready. Put your other pieces that are done, put them over here, away from the ones that are not done. Make sure, again, you put your rabbet in the right spot. There's a little piece there. You gotta shut it off. Wait till it stops. That little piece, dangerous. Get it out of there. Alright, now I'm going to have to do this one again because it rode up a little bit when I was pushing it through. rabbits are perfect. That's just how I want them. Cut her down. Okay, we're continuing on with the frame build. I've already got the rabbits in there. And as you can see, they're 3/8 by 3/8. What we had talked about before. Make sure that your stock is big enough for what you're going to be framing. I wrote down the size of the picture here to make sure that I got it right. And I guess I better check them. It's going to be 14 on the short end. So these are 18. And by 22, and these are 26. So they should be okay. Now we're going to miter them. First thing you want to do is clean off your miter saw. You don't want that stuff up here. It's going to throw your dimensions off, because these miters are pretty critical. Now, I've got it already set at 45, so I'm going to make that cut. You got to hold it down and then hold it back against the fence. There you go. Now it's fairly clean, but if you look right here on the end where this is pointing, there's a little bit left. You have to come over here and get your chisel, trim that off. And trim it flush with the rest of the surface. And maybe you can see that, maybe you can't, but I did get it good. So I just watched a video about a guy with a bunch of fancy chisels. I use a 1/2 inch because I'm comfortable with it. This is Stanley. You don't need a bunch of fancy chisels, in my opinion. Now the next thing you need to do is take your square and see if you got a 45. Okay? Might take a while to figure it out. This one isn't quite 45. It's not quite 45. It's got to go a little bit more of an angle. That's very difficult to see, but there's a little bit sticking out here, and up here it's flush. So I know it's not right. What I'm going to do, and you don't have to do this, but what I'm going to do is blow that off a little bit. Your air gun or your mouth or whatever you're going to use. What I'm going to do is give it a little bit more angle. All right, I haven't got much to play with because my picture is only 14 inches. Then come back here, get your square. I think I'll use this longer one. Although it might be a little bit different. Put this part of your square against this edge right here. Like that. Then bring your square up, see if it's right. It's still not right. There's a little bit sticking out right here, and it's flush right here, so and lock it down with your handle here. I didn't do that before, maybe that's why it messed up. And I doubt if this is going to be okay too, so take this part of your square, make sure that this locking nut is tight, which it is, and check it again. Yeah. Might have to go a degree, maybe a half degree. In that case, get my light, check it. Loosen your handle. We'll try half a degree, see how that works. I've spent a lot of time trying to get this table so it would make the right 45s. Still not right. That's close enough. Now I know that my inside dimension, or my short side dimension, is going to be 14. There's two ways you can do this. I know that the points, right here's the point. I know that the points got to be on the same area. In other words, if I get my board back here, this point must have a corresponding point here. A lot of times I have cut the wrong angle because I was not watching to make sure I had a point here and a point here. This is the point right here. Right this, on this area. So, there's two ways you can do it. You can change your miter box and make sure you have half a degree extra over here, or you can keep this same setup, which I'm going to do, and try it that way. So, in order to get this point on this end, I'm going to have to turn it over like this so that the rabbet is facing the right way. Make sure, check it several different times. I think I'll change this. And I'll go with the factory setting of 45 degrees. We'll try that. Now this is white oak, so unfortunately, with different kinds of wood, this is extremely hard wood, and unfortunately with different kinds of wood, you're going to get a different 45. The reason for that is because this blade is not perfect, and this one, the plate is less than 1/8 of an inch. This is a fairly good Bosch. I don't know if you can see it right there, but it's a Bosch blade. Cost about $40, $50. So we made a cut here. Let's check this. Now your square is going to be different this time. Might take a little bit to figure it out. I'm going to leave it there. It's pretty close. Now remember, I said my short dimension was 14. We'll check it out here. It's about 14 1/4, which is about what I planned. The shortest dimension is going to be just the opposite of what I told you before. It's going to be these parts right here. That is the dimension that you're going to check to see if it's going to fit your picture. Now I may make a small mat, and maybe I'll show you how to do that, maybe not.